Hey guys, I wanted to share with you very briefly something that we're going to be talking about on a more regular basis and implementing as far as the leadership side of things is concerned. I've taken our student ministry and I've boiled everything that we do down to what I'm going to call five anchor points. And the idea behind it is this: when a student comes in seventh grade and they leave in 12th grade, how do we know that we've covered all the various things that a student is going to engage in life? It's a pretty daunting task. And so I've come up with five, what I would call irreducibly complex concepts and ideas. I wanted to share these five with you, kind of talk for just a brief second about how we're going to implement them. And we'll be discussing this more in a future leadership meeting. But so here's the five anchor points. First of all is faith. Second is boundaries, relationships, choices, and then finally ministry. And so I want to use this as a gauge, and we're going to talk about our anchor points and making sure that everything that we do in student ministry is hitting on these anchor points. We're heavily reliant upon using these to gauge whether or not we're being successful in the lives of our students. And not only do I want to use it for student ministry, but I want to also use these in the lives of our parents. I'm going to be getting together with Dylan and Ryan and Vinny and working on a sort of combination of a discipleship track, but also life group sort of feel, with the idea of taking, for example, the first one and really, if I was to state it completely the way that I have it worded, it's faith, my foundation for living. We encourage students to own their faith and walk with God. So that's the student side of it. But from a parent's perspective, okay, how do I make this happen in the life of my student or my children in my home? And what we want to really begin doing as a ministry is coming alongside our parents, equipping them, educating them, providing them a source of encouragement. And so, in my mind, we've got a group of parents. Ryan and I are facilitating some discussions, some questions, some educational points of, hey, here's some resources that may help you. We live in a generate with a generation, and we're engaged with a generation that is very secretive. You know it, I know it, parents know it, but it's not just enough to know, hey, they have secrets. Hey, there's apps out there that are designed to disguise certain things from mom and dad knowing. We've got to be engaged with them. So, on the area of faith, what is it that a mom and a dad or grandma and grandpa or whoever they're living with, what is it that we can do in the home to reinforce my child's faith? What are some discussion topics or ways in which we can bring our faith, which sometimes seems to be this high and lofty idea, but how can we make it this concrete? Okay, I see what happened to me at school today and what this kid said to me, and I'm bridging the gap between what I believe and the things that I'm experiencing, and getting parents to engage with their students on that kind of a level, and not being a, hey, we know all this and we have it figured out, so let us teach you, but really allowing this to be a shared experience and just a way that parents can come together, encourage one another, uplift one another in prayer. And so we are still fleshing that out, trying to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. But really, we're going to minister to our students in each of these five areas, and then come alongside and really the umbrella idea on top of that, on top of the student portion, is okay, parents, this is what we're doing with your student. How can we make this happen? How can we come alongside you and encourage you in these areas, in with you getting involved in your student's life in these areas? And so we're going to be talking about that as we're moving forward. Some other things I want to challenge you on as far as really getting in and engaging in the lives of our students. And but I'm excited about what God has for us coming up. And so be thinking about these anchor points, if you would. Again, it was faith, boundaries, relationships, choices, and ministry, and how you can even begin to weave those into conversation in your small groups on Wednesdays. But we got a leader meeting coming up, and we'll hit on more of this in depth at that time. I just wanted to kind of get that out there and get you a little bit of direction on where we're going.